First of all, good morning, and it's great to be joined here by Kumar's colleagues, Dan Stein, Team Oliver from Baltimore, Waysharer from Environmental, Jim Gilchrist, David Fraser Hidalgo, Clarence Lamb, all people that serve with Kumar in Annapolis. I can't help it saying this as I've been in with Kumar, but we've been together for 25 years. Somewhere out there channeling in today is Mike Gordon. Our good friend, who would be very proud of Kumar and what he's accomplished in his elected office as well. But I want to give you the reasons I believe Kumar is the best person and candidate for this position in Congress. You know, there's a few people come to Annapolis and have wonderful careers. Kumar has risen to the rank of majority leader. He is the voice of the Democratic Party on the floor of the House. Now, for the last 12 years, he's held that position. This year is now Chairman of Environment and Transportation. But to witness Kumar in some of the toughest debates on marriage equality, on the American Dream Act, or the Maryland Dream Act, which would give kids the opportunity to go to colleges that went to Maryland high school regardless of whether they had status as American citizens or not. They were tough battles, and Kumar would stand there with a passion to defend that legislation and to pull the Democratic Party through time after time after time. He is the voice of what has made the Democratic Party great in the state of Maryland. You want to make him that same voice in the United States Congress. He has the experience, he has the ability, he has the length and breadth of the issues that will move this country forward. It will be a bittersweet day when he leaves the House of Delegates because we'll lose a great leader. But it'll be a greater day for Rockville and for Montgomery, Frederick, and Carroll County and the United States of America. Kumar Barve goes to Congress. It's my great privilege to be here to introduce you a man that's been a friend of mine for 25 years. Your next Congressman, Kumar Barve.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, let me thank my colleagues who are here at 10 o'clock in the morning on work day. There were many other colleagues who support me in this campaign and unfortunately could not be here. I'm honored to have the support of all of you. I will say though, I respect and love all of you though, but Mr. Speaker, you will never know how much I respect you for the leadership you have shown the people of Maryland. Whenever a fight had to be made for average people in Maryland, they always had a friend in you as Speaker, and it has always been my honor to represent you and the Democratic majority in the Maryland General Assembly. I also want to acknowledge a few other people here. I have a relative, Mr. Barve, here. You've got to recognize him. Alan Chung, who was elected the same year as me in 1990, countywide to the school board. And let me just get started and very quickly tell you why I'm doing this. During the 20th century, America was a nation that did big things. We led the world in technological innovation, in manufacturing. We built a great public school system and great university systems in our country that became the envy of the world. We built a vast federal highway system. We created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We passed the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, fair housing. We put human beings on the moon. In the immortal words of President John Kennedy, we did all of these things not because they were easy, but because they were hard. We were a confident nation. That was the kind of America my grandparents came to in 1911. They wanted to come here because America was a place where innovation happened and where you could get a great education and live the American dream. I'm running for Congress because I want to keep that dream alive for future generations. Now, when you look at the politics in Washington today, it does seem like our leaders have lost faith in the American people. It's as though they feel we no longer have the capacity to do great things. Too many members of both parties think small. They're afraid of bold ideas because they're afraid they'll be attacked by political action committees and special interest groups, or they'll be attacked on radio and TV by extremists. And unfortunately, too often that's exactly what happens. But I believe we can still do big, great things. I'll give you an example. A great majority of Americans believe we have to invest in our infrastructure, restore crumbling roads and bridges, and upgrade our water and sewer systems, and modernize our electric grid so that we could actually save energy and help the environment as well. We should follow the example of other nations who learned from us originally in Europe, who are doing all of those things. European countries have connected their great cities with high-speed rail. We should be doing these things that we once used to do. Why is it that China is investing more in infrastructure than we are? The reason all of these countries are doing this is because they are looking 10, 20, 50 years down the road, something we Americans did routinely, and that's what we have to do once again. Now, we need to go back to these kind of philosophies that really built America. This is something, by the way, that both the Chamber of Commerce and organized labor can agree on. Why can't Congress make these kind of investments in our nation, create jobs and ensure economic competitiveness? It's actually pretty simple. It's because the Tea Party has a stranglehold on the Republican Party. Even the few moderates who exist there are afraid of being challenged in a primary, and they're afraid to work with Democrats, and heaven forbid they should work with Barack Obama. America's Congress needs to start looking to the future just the way we do in Annapolis. In fact, in Annapolis, I've worked with labor to protect the right to organize, and I've worked with our business community. I led the effort to create the Maryland Technology Development Corporation that's become the primary vehicle for Maryland's technology innovation, to secure capital, and to grow. And by the way, it's produced in 2013 2,100 jobs directly and indirectly, and those are jobs that pay $70,000 on average. These are great Maryland jobs. This is just a small example of what we've done, what I have done in Maryland, that's paid dividends for our economy and for our taxpayers. Now, arguably, no, not arguably, the biggest existential threat that we face is that of global warming. It will take American leadership to solve this global crisis. And today, America is not living up to that responsibility. We have to think bigger, and we have to act bolder. Republicans have created a false choice between economic prosperity and environmental protection, and they're just simply wrong. In fact, protecting the environment is vital to the long-term economic growth of the United States of America, and of all nations for that matter. We need to continue to lead the charge to mandate less carbon-intense industries, to burn fewer fossil fuels, to use clean energy, and to use government policy to do these things. Now, I've been very fortunate. Because of the positions I've held, I've been able to make these changes in the state of Maryland. As the chairman of the Environment and Transportation Committee in particular, over 2 decades I've worked closely with the Sierra Club and the League of Conservation Voters and with environmental scientists. We've worked hard to pass legislation to protect the Chesapeake Bay, to encourage renewable energy, to place a moratorium on fracking, and my day job is as a chief financial officer of an environmental services company right here in Rockville, Maryland. So I know that environmental policy not only protects public health, but also creates jobs and business opportunities. Now, as many people in Annapolis know, and the speaker has heard me use this line before, I'm an accountant. And accountants have a bit of a reputation for being a little nerdy and a little nerdy. And maybe that's not me, mind you, but and that's probably why we have so few accountants in public life and so few in the United States Congress, and I think we ought to have a few more, because so much of our economic policy, for example, and social policy is driven by the tax code. Now, even Democrats keep talking about closing corporate tax loopholes and making taxes fairer for the middle class, but I'm the only candidate in this race who's actually done it. I've taken on big, powerful interests, and I've closed corporate tax loopholes. In particular, I closed the Delaware holding company loophole that has saved taxpayers and Maryland businesses hundreds of millions of dollars. This is money that they should have been paying all along, and now because they are, the rest of us have a lighter burden. This is something that I've done for many years in the General Assembly. In fact, as an accountant and as a senior leader, I've been part of a very small group of leaders who's been in charge of making the hard decisions to keep our budget balanced, to maintain our AAA bond rating, and to make sure that Maryland is a place where we can have the funds to build the best public school system in America. I am a numbers guy, but you know, the hard work of legislation isn't always glamorous, but the outcomes can always, should and have in Maryland had a very positive impact on people's lives. So, you know, for 12 years, I've been the Democratic leader in the Maryland House of Delegates, and I've been at the forefront of passing progressive legislation to create economic opportunity and to advance social justice. For example, affirming the right to marry for our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, keeping tuition affordable at the University of Maryland so that students don't graduate with crushing debt that harms them later in life, raising the minimum wage, supporting pay equity for all people, forcing HMOs to let you see the physician of your choice, and of course abolishing the death penalty, and again, building the best public school system in the United States of America. I believe nobody is better situated in this campaign to get real results in Congress. I want to thank all of you again. I will thank you all individually as well. But over the next many months, it's going to be 10.5 months, I'm going to be working hard to gain the support of all the Democrats in Montgomery County, in Frederick County, in Carroll County, because in my belief, America is a great nation. We need a Congress that acts that way and continues to do big and great things so that we can rebuild our middle class and be the country we once and always will be. Thank you very much. If there are